Hi everyone, I'm Arnaud Wenger, director from LetzBlock, Luxembourg Blockchain and DLT Association. Welcome to this blockchain and LetzBlock interview. Today's topic is blockchain and media business and journalism. We have the pleasure to welcome Dwayne Desaulniers, directors of Web3 Blockchain and Data from the Associated Press, New York. Dwayne, could you please introduce yourself?
Yes, of course. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much. As you mentioned, my name is Dwayne Desaulniers, and I work for the Associated Press. I work at our world headquarters in Lower Manhattan in New York. And my current role at AP is to help figure out Web3, blockchain, and how the news industry can make use of NFTs, for example.
Thank you very much, Dwayne. It's a pleasure to have you today. We have also to accompany us today, Reina, Ueda, director of LetzBlock. Could you please introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello, my name is Reina Ueda. I'm a director of LetzBlock and also a CEO of a company based in between Luxembourg and Japan. I'm very happy to meet you, Dwayne, and I'm very excited to know more about what you do and the relation between blockchain technology and media business.
Of course. Yep. Happy to be here. Where should we begin?
Thank you very much, Reina. Dwayne, I know that AP is already using blockchain and such technology. Can you talk about it and let us know more about what you are doing or how it's using through the media?
Yes, of course. We have a number of different initiatives underway at the Associated Press, and all of our work is aimed at trying to determine and figure out, what is the intersection and what is the utility of blockchain technology and journalism. The very first project that we did in 2020 was to make use of the immutability of the blockchain. And what we did is during the US election in 2020, we took our race calls. So these are the statements when we declare a winner in each race. And we published those race calls on chain via an oracle. And our interest in doing so was to create a permanent record of our journalism that obviously is immutable, is tamper-proof, and it was a very, very good project because we learned how to do it, and we made a very big statement, I think, in terms of the use of the blockchain in journalism. From there, we've gone on to creating NFTs that are focused on our photojournalism and some NFTs that are focused on artifacts from the AP corporate archives. So we minted our first NFT in early 2021. We did a number of drops last year, again, focused on the best of our photojournalism and targeted at photography collectors. And looking forward, we're really keen to continue to explore how the blockchain could be used, for example, for news distribution, for NFT-based subscriptions, which is very interesting. It may have the ability to change the subscription model in the industry. So as you can see, it's a range of activities, and we're really trying to test all different types of technology that sort of exist in the blockchain portfolio.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
That's good. Reina, do you have particular question about that?
Yeah, that's very interesting that NFT blockchain technology is utilized in your media in different broad range of aspects. That's very interesting. Okay, so I like to ask you many more questions, but before that, our LetzBlock members have various backgrounds, namely lawyers, compliance officers, accountants, professors, students. So I will ask you questions in some other different aspects too. Yeah. So my first question is, now I've heard about a lot of different use cases, but why it's important to use blockchain technology in this context? What value does blockchain technology add here?
All of that largely remains to be proven and determined. But perhaps what might be helpful is a quick little history of AP and technology. So AP is a not-for-profit news cooperative. We're not a public company. We're not even a private company. We're a not-for-profit. AP was founded in 1848. So it's been a number of decades that AP has been producing journalism. Over those decades, our company has really had to explore almost every major technical innovation to determine, how that technology can help with news production and news distribution. As you can imagine, over the decades, as we've tried to get our news photos around the world as fast as possible, we've had to adopt new technology. And in fact, we've had to create new technology that allows us to get our journalism to our customers as fast as possible. So we really have a very, very long history of exploring all new major technology advances. And we do so for the very simple reason to better understand, can this technology help us report the news faster, more accurately? Can the technology help us distribute the news faster and more accurately? Be it television, be it teletype machines, be it radio, be it Web 1. We've always taken the approach where we really need to understand the latest technology to help us understand whether it will help our business.
I see. Great. Thank you. And I've actually, before coming here, I've actually read a news article about from Associated Press, and it seems you work with Chainlink to record and provide economic and sport data on blockchain. I think it is associated with, now you said, like to provide news more like accurately and smoothly or like that. So I'd like to know a bit more about the Chainlink and what is it and then how you utilize it.
Sure, of course. The first thing to consider is that the information in our world, Web 1 information, Web 2 information that sits in databases all over the world, that information is not immediately available on the blockchain. So the blockchain really is a silo. And despite the oceans and oceans of data and information in our world today, that information does not port over automatically or even cheaply to the blockchain. So smart contracts on the blockchain would have access to that information. So the way that we have decided to put our news on the blockchain is through the use of an oracle. Now, oracles are just a software gateway that brings off-chain information on-chain. And once that information gets on-chain, then, as I mentioned, a range of smart contracts could begin to make use of that data and that information, as they execute whatever the smart contract is designed to do. So we just think it's an entirely new economy. It's an entirely new system that desperately needs trusted, accurate information. If smart contracts are going to consume information, then it's vital that the information that the contracts consume is accurate and fair and balanced. So this is what we do. We think that there's a great need, and there will be a greater need, going forward, to get really good, trusted information on the blockchain. And our decision to make that happen was to work with Chainlink, create an oracle, and use that oracle to put our news, data, and information on chain. So that's the nature of our partnership. It's really a news publishing concept, except we're publishing to the blockchain.
I see.
I have a quick question. So I understood that you are using the Oracle protocols, and did you check for other kind of protocol or blockchain solution before to use this one?
You mean competitors or like that?
Yeah. Oh, see.
We certainly scan the community for, again, the best in class partners for us. Blockchain technology is very complicated, and it's a real technical specialty for sure. So when we decided to start to explore the blockchain and determine how it might be useful in the world of journalism, we definitely had to partner. We just did not have the development skills inside our company to write smart contracts and to create oracles, for example. We've had wonderful partnerships. They've been a very, very important part of helping us do this study and this evaluation much faster, which is also important. And when it came to publishing information on chain, there are options, but honestly, at the end of the day, Chainlink has the most experience, and this is why we're working with Chainlink. It's a proven partner. They have plenty of experience, lots of different use cases, and that's the main reason why we decided to build our oracle and launch our oracle with Chainlink.
Great. Do you have something to add?
Sure, I have some other questions as well. Yes. So this time from a business perspective. So in terms of finance, was there any opposition when you decided to introduce blockchain technology to the service? Because previously you told us that, of course, AP is not the corporation, but the cooperative, non-profit making a cooperative. So I think the decision-making process could be a bit different. But if there was opposition party, I'd like to know how you persuaded, how you convinced them to introduce blockchain technology internally. And
Sure. Well, I think the first thing is to make sure that all of my colleagues and everyone in our company understands, what is our purpose. And our purpose is not to declare the blockchain as, the solution for journalism. That's not our purpose. It may not work out. We're completely open to the possibility that, in the future, perhaps there's less opportunity for journalism and the blockchain. But all this exercise is aimed at is determining whether that's true. It's a study, it's an analysis. And that's very different from if we were to declare that we were going to start to publish news on chain as a regular part of our service. That's a very different application than what we're currently doing. Because we're keeping it as sort of a test, as research, that's a concept that's very comfortable for a lot of people at the AP. As I said, because we have to continue to explore all technology.
I see.
So as long as we've kept our projects to really looking to determine the efficacy and the importance of blockchain, that's a position that a lot of people at AP are very comfortable with. And obviously we realize it's vitally important for us to continue to evaluate technologies, as they present themselves. And we also take small steps. We take baby steps, but we do so very quickly, I think is a good way to put it. It can't be just theoretical research. We have to take our ideas and apply them. But again, we do so, we obviously look to minimize risk as much as possible. As an example, we're not publishing breaking news on the blockchain. We don't think that's a good idea. The blockchain expects and demands, as accurate a record and as accurate as information as possible. And sometimes, frankly, breaking news, may need further information. It may even need a correction. So by minimizing the risk, again, that's just another reason why we're comfortable exploring blockchain technology and respecting what it's good for and what it's not good for. And then, like I said, the pilots that we launch, we measure the success, we measure the impact. And every time we do such a test, such a pilot, generally our confidence grows that we can go to the next level and go to the next step. So we just have a natural culture for development, exploration, and research, and that really helps us get into these sorts of projects.
I see. That's great. I think that people in AP are more forward thinkers. And then, but that's great news that to know more, to know about how you introduce the blockchain technology, and then dealt with internal consensus. Because I'm sure that there are a lot of companies who want to introduce such technology to apply to their services and products, but there are some oppositions, and it's not so easy to reach a consensus internally. So for such companies, your information could be a great tip, I think. Thank you.
Sure, you bet.
I have a quick question also about that. Do you see some other medias or newspaper using already the blockchain technology? Mm-hmm. And for example, you promote some articles also to other media. In such case, do you use also the blockchain for sending through smart contracts? Or how do you...
Yeah, so Arnaud, you've just hit sort of, I think, at a real core of our research and our study about the blockchain. Blockchains generally, of course, they need information. They need to be fed information. So we see a great opportunity in that. But at the same time, it's only certain types of information, at least at this point, that make the most sense to put on the blockchain. So, for example, publishing breaking news, as we would send out, on our various news wires around the world, we think it's too early to put live breaking news, on chain, as an example. But when it comes to other types of news content, it makes much more sense. So, for example, if we put our election race calls on the blockchain, then we're really creating a permanent record of who AP declared as the winner, of these elections across the United States. Another area that we're looking at is the preservation of some of our most important investigative journalism. So we have investigative teams that are doing really big, impactful stories, and often they're gathering artifacts, photos, evidence, information to support their reporting. So using the blockchain to store and then make that content available, that strikes us as a really, really good use case. Because of course, around the world in various countries, censorship is obviously a big concern that we have. Hacking and corrupting servers, obviously we've seen that thousands of times. So it's the immutability of the blockchain itself that we find attractive as a new form of archive. In order to make sure that the journalism that we create stays available to everyone forever.
I think potentially, I'm just thinking like this, but it's above the media only. But for example, for poll or for election, do you think that blockchain can help to ensure that everything is recorded and to count properly or avoid mistakes?
I know that there are a lot of folks looking at that. It's not something that we're studying. We're not studying how to use blockchain for voting. We'll leave that up to governments and political parties. So I'm not sure. I think a lot of people are interested in blockchain as a solution to improve the mechanics and accuracy of voting, but that's not something that we're involved with.
Actually, this is my last question, but I'd like to have your opinion about the future of blockchain and the media. Which direction are you going to? What are you aiming at? I really would like to have your opinion.
So definitely, using the blockchain and serving the needs of the blockchain for trusted, accurate information. Smart contracts need data. They need good data. They need accurate data.
Yes.
And we think that newsrooms around the world can provide that information. It's trusted. There's a very rigorous process before we put news, on the AP wire. There's obviously years and decades of effort that goes into making sure that the news is accurate that we're reporting. So as more and more business activity and social activity migrates to various blockchains, we just think that all of those applications are going to need good, trusted information. So we're very hopeful that that would be sort of a permanent, longer-term role for the blockchain and journalism. But at the same time, we're looking for concepts like, does an NFT subscription to a news service make sense? Does tokenizing a subscription somehow change the consumer's understanding of what a subscription is and can be? Can you resell your subscription if you don't need it anymore, for example? Can you trade your subscription for someone else's subscription, perhaps to a different publication or a different topic? And then, I think lastly, the door is open. We have our specific intentions, but at the same time, we're wide open and we're watching very closely for any other opportunities that emerge, in the work that we're doing. We can pivot really quickly. So yeah, we think it's promising. We think so far it's hopeful, but there are some really major hurdles. So certainly, blockchain technology and access is a very elite function right now. Very, very, very few people globally have access to a blockchain, understand how to use a blockchain, et cetera. So it's very early. But until we get sort of much less friction and much more simplicity, adoption globally is going to be pretty slow. But that doesn't concern us, because if you think back to all the various technologies that have been transformative for our society, television, the internet, mobile. In the early days, these technologies were all rough. They weren't very accessible. It took a fair degree of technical knowledge to download the first browser and use the first browser. So today it's the mass market is not there. But I think that if the developers keep doing what they're doing, they will gradually remove more and more friction, which will allow people to take more advantage easily in terms of what the blockchain can offer society. So I'd say that I'm hopeful, but certainly a lot of work remains to be done in order to bring the blockchain to really communities all around the world.
I found that is very good, but like you said, for the time being, it's quite difficult for the, I would say, normal people who, like internet arrive, nobody knew exactly what is it until now they are using and clicking and doing everything with social media and using internet. For blockchain, it's a bit the same. They don't really see what is the purpose, what we can do with that. And I'm very glad that today you answer, and we can see that important press like Associated Press is starting to use this blockchain and see a rich opportunities. So for everyone, I think this is very important.
Definitely.
Yeah.
We cannot wait to see the further future for media business with the blockchain and with Dwayne.
And we're having a lot of fun. This type of research and analysis is new, it's different, it's challenging, and it's fun. It's fun to work in such a new area of technology and be part of the movement to understand it and understand how we can make better use of it, as a company and as a society.
Thank you very much, Dwayne. Do you have something you would like to add or talk?
I don't think so. I think conversations like this are very important. You know, and it's so great that in this sector, you know, people are willing to share their knowledge and to collaborate at a very, very high degree. And I think that's really, really important. I mean, that's how we will get over these hurdles of knowledge, you know, learning and expectation. So I think, you know, the collaboration that we've experienced, you know, the hope for the technology that we've experienced, it's all very, very encouraging. And the more people talk about it, the more we criticize what we're seeing, the better we understand it. You know, we need to do good, honest research, and that means being critical, but being aggressive as well. So I think if we keep that balance, you know, our understanding of how this technology can be used in journalism will evolve a little bit faster, I expect.
Thank you very much for your time today, Dwayne. It was really a pleasure to receive you. Reina, I let you the word of the end.
Oh, thank you so much, Dwayne. And please feel free to join any further LetzBlock events. You are most welcome.
Thank you. Look forward to it.
And I'm pretty sure that we will be able to see you again, maybe to the next Blockchain Oracle Summit.
Yeah.
It was very great to meet you.
I'm sure we will.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wish you a very pleasant day.